We are back with another video discussing the often forgotten team-up mission chapters of My Hero Academia. We've done this in the past, covering team-ups with characters like Miracle, Fat Gum, and even the man who flies too fast for his own good, Hawks. A reminder for you guys that have watched this series before, and for those of you that are unfamiliar, this is official content, however, whether it's canon or not is up to your own interpretation. With that said, as always, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to Plot Armor with notifications on to never miss an upload. We upload almost daily and would love to have you guys join in on our discussions. Now, let's get into it. The story starts out with a boy very reminiscent of Astro Boy, a character we over here on Plot Armor actually love a lot. He was going out to play, and actually funny enough, his mother warned him to watch out for villains, but he wasn't scared because he had a quirk called Bristle, which makes his hair super hard. So yeah, in my opinion, not a very good self-defense quirk, but hey, I guess you could get creative with it, maybe. But yeah, the boy ran outside with his soccer ball prepared to have fun all day. Unfortunately though, once he reached his destination, a park, he was approached by some older individuals who tried to force his ball away from him. And one of these guys actually had a quirk that reminds me of Bakugo's childhood friend. It's not him, but I guess something about long fingers makes people want to bully others. In his head, the boy would hope for help to arrive, and it would come and immediately put a stop to the villains. It was All Might. Now, this was strange. Surprisingly, this boy had no idea who All Might was, even just labeling him as some macho American man. The villains, if you could even call them that, also didn't recognize this man to be All Might. Deku was here with All Might, and the two would introduce themselves. While Deku went on rambling about All Might, the guys from earlier were actually escaping, with the ball that the boy brought to the park. All Might and Deku would notice this and begin pursuit, reassuring the young boy that there was no need to fear. He was just amazed at this and just wowed by these heroes, but just then, All Might would lose his muscle form mid-sprint and begin coughing up blood. The boy thought All Might left, but through Deku he realized this thin old man was All Might. And I guess you could say the kid is pretty smart because like any rational person, he would then assume that All Might had a transformation quirk, but as we all know, that's not the case, and the boy would too learn this. With All Might down, Deku would note that it's best to ask others for help now. Others being the top members of Class 1A. So now Deku would basically send this squad of heroes to go stop two bullies who stole a ball. A bit ridiculous, of course, but they were happy to help, except Bakugo, who not surprisingly said who cares about some snot-nosed brat. Ida would be the one to respond to this, condemning Bakugo's behavior. And so, while these two were basically fighting, we actually had Mina and Sue questioning Uraraka about who she has a crush on. Everyone was in their own little world for a moment. Aoyama was twinkling, Mineta was being perverted, and Tokoyami was alone thinking of darkness. All this while Aizawa was sleeping. Not a very good first impression of Class 1A. As you can imagine, at this point, the young boy was losing faith. I mean, he'd seen All Might fall apart, and he now had seen Class 1A be, well, I guess children instead of heroes. After a little while of this, they'd get onto the job though and begin searching for the villains. Again, I'm using that word because that's what they're being referred to here in this story, but personally, I'm not so sure it's fitting. Jiro would be the one to find the location of their prey. Using her quirk, she could hear them plot on selling the ball online. Ida would head off first and engage the enemies. To his surprise though, what he'd find was a giant villain who was terrorizing the lesser villains from earlier. The giant villain would immediately recognize Ida as a hero and strike at him with force. The young boy would be scared here, wondering how anyone could fight a villain so big. And as if that were his cue, Bakugo would blast into the action, knocking the villain back with a Hauser impact, yelling his signature catchphrase, "Die." This of course confused the kid, but the fight would go on because that attack wasn't enough. Next up though, Todoroki would blast the giant with ice, causing him to freeze up and be unable to move, of course. And then with the help of Sue, Deku would get up in the air and charge up and attack, going for the final blow. At this point, the kid would ask Todoroki what Deku's quirk is, and Todoroki would say, super strength like All Might. Right as Deku landed a smash attack to the face of the enemy, that hit would do it. The giant villain would fall, and Mineta would finish up the job by using his quirk on the smaller villains from earlier. One thing about this fight I like to point out is the fact that Deku had to have Sue throw him up in the air. A bit strange. I mean, it makes sense to involve her in the chapter, but that same logic could be applied to anyone else that wasn't directly involved in the fight, like Uraraka. We all know Deku can jump really high, of course. That was how we saw him use his quirk the very first time in the series. So, a little strange, but not a big deal. The child would get his ball back and thank everyone. It's probably safe to say his impression of heroes went up to new heights from seeing this display of teamwork, and I guess this really embodies the whole team up mission aspect of this series. This was definitely one of the more silly chapters, but I think it was overall pretty solid. There were a decent amount of funny moments, and in general just good fun. And with that, we have covered the chapter. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to let us know in the comments that you want more content like this. And don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to Plumber with notifications on to never miss an upload. We upload almost daily, and we'd love to have you guys join in on our discussions. And if you want to support the channel even further, check out our Patreon link in the description below. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter to get the latest anime and manga news out there. With that said, until next time, keep that plot armor on you. I am KJ, have a great day, goodbye.